All right, so no matter who you are, whether you're team iPhone, team Android, there's one thing in particular about the OnePlus 12 that I think anybody will love and appreciate. And we're going to talk about it here in this video. Now, I was fortunate enough to get my hands on the phone early to really give myself some time to test it, see what it's about. And majority of the time when I'm testing out a phone, I'll take my SIM card out of my S23 Ultra, which is typically my daily driver, with the mindset that after a few days of testing, I'm going to take the SIM card and put it back into my S23 Ultra. But this is the first time where I'm really questioning that decision. So for starters, let's just talk about the options that you have when it comes to the OnePlus 12. As far as colors, you have what they call silky black. And then as you probably could have guessed, you have a green option as well, which OnePlus is known for. This is actually called flowy emerald. And as you can see, it's got kind of a ribbon type design spread throughout the back of the phone, which is one way to differentiate it from the OnePlus 11. As far as memory and storage, you have options of 12 gigs of memory and 256 gigs of storage, or you have options of 16 gigs of memory and 512 gigs of storage. No matter which way you go, you're going to be well under that $1,000 price point, which is one of the main attractions of this device. In terms of construction, on the front, you have Gorilla Glass Victus 2. You also have glass on the back with a frosted matte finish. And I will say that the finish on this phone is definitely slippery, at least for me. So if you do end up grabbing one of these, I highly recommend investing in a case if you don't want to risk dropping your phone. Now, on the flip side, with that frosted matte finish, you don't have to worry about the phone collecting any fingerprints. As far as the cameras, you obviously have the camera module on full display there on the back as well. And OnePlus actually says that the look of the camera module is inspired by the look of a luxury watch, which kind of makes sense the more you look at it. Something else you'll notice under the proper lighting is this shiny, glittery type effect inside the camera module as well, which does add a nice overall aesthetic. You've got an aluminum frame around the edges, which gives you some nice contrast compared to the matte finish on the back, and it also just gives it a very premium feel. It helps in terms of grip as well, because like I said, this thing can definitely be slippery. On the right side, you have your usual volume rocker and power button, and then on the left side, you have an alert switch. So this allows you to easily put the phone on silent mode, vibrate mode, or ring mode. And what I like about this alert switch is that it actually has a textured pattern finish, and it gives you a very clicky, tactile response each time you use it, which makes it oddly satisfying to use. On the bottom, you have a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-C port for faster transfer speeds, and it supports video output in case you want to connect your phone to an external display. You also have stereo speakers on the bottom as well as the top, and you'll also notice on the top an IR blaster, which is something you don't see too often these days. Moving over to the display, it's a 6.8-inch display with a peak brightness of 4500 nits. Now, OnePlus actually says that this is the brightest screen ever on any smartphone. I don't know if I would go that far. I don't really have any objective way to measure that, but I will say that no matter if you're indoors or outdoors, you're not going to have any issue viewing the display. You're getting up to a 120 Hz refresh rate, and the LTPO technology of the display can actually automatically adjust the refresh rate from 1 Hz all the way to 120 Hz, depending on your interaction with the display, as well as the content that's being viewed on the screen. There's also Dolby Vision support for better colors, as well as increased contrast and detail. For me, whether it's YouTube, Netflix, gaming, no matter what it is, I think the display looks great. The experience is very fluid. Everything is smooth, and I don't think there's any question that you're getting flagship level performance. When it comes to the biometric security, the fingerprint sensor is in the right spot. It's easy to reach. It's not too low, which I have experienced on some other phones. It's accurate, it's responsive, and as far as the face unlock, I would actually compare the consistency of this phone to the iPhone. Whether it's in light environments or dark environments, I've had zero hiccups using the face unlock, which is something I can't exactly say with my S23 Ultra. I don't know what it is, but since I've had that phone, I pretty much only use the fingerprint sensor because that's the only thing that works 100% of the time. Now, as far as OS, we're getting Android 14 straight out of the box, and we're also getting Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Now, like I said earlier, you can get up to 16 gigs of memory, and it's LPDDR5X memory, which is said to be faster and more efficient compared to LPDDR5. Now, to be honest, I'm a pretty casual user when it comes to smartphones. Obviously, phone calls, texting, some social media browsing, YouTube, Netflix, maybe some gaming here and there, and some possible multitasking between different apps. That's really the extent of my use when it comes to a smartphone. But even if you're on the more advanced end of the spectrum, really hardcore gaming, maybe some video editing, and just really labor intensive type activities, I'm very confident that this phone is going to stand up to pretty much whatever you have to throw at it. Now let's go ahead and move over to battery life. And this is where things start to get very, very interesting. So the OnePlus 12 has a 5400 milliamp battery, which is bigger than anything iPhone has, bigger than anything Samsung has. And the battery life on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. If you use your phone like a normal person should, you can easily get 2 days of use before you'll need to recharge it. Now, obviously, if you're just doom scrolling for hours on end or watching movies for hours, that's going to eat into your battery life. But again, when it comes to normal everyday use, most days I would end up with around 60 to 70% battery life at the end of the day, which has never been the case for any other phone that I've tested. And that's the one thing that I think anybody can appreciate. Again, whether you're team iPhone, team Android, battery life is a high priority when it comes to today's smartphones. So many things are tied to our phones and controlled by our phones that you need a phone that can without question get you through the end of the day. And this is definitely going to do that. Now, when it is time to charge your device, as you guys probably know, OnePlus is fearless when it comes to pushing the envelope in terms of charging speeds, and the OnePlus 12 comes with an 80-watt Super VOOC fast charger. This can charge your device from 1% to 100% in 30 minutes. So when you combine the monstrous battery life with the insanely fast charging speeds, there's virtually zero downtime. And by downtime, I mean the amount of time that you have to wait for your device to charge. Now, if you're more of a wireless person, OnePlus also has their 50-watt AirVOOC fast charger that can get you to 100% in roughly 55 minutes. So this phone can charge faster wirelessly than most phones can charge through a wire, and it's able to do that through a twin battery design. So it has two cells that are each charging at 25 watts separately. Now, when you start talking about charging speeds of this magnitude, along with all the other tech and specs that are packed into this phone, heat definitely becomes a concern. So the OnePlus 12 has a cryo velocity cooling system, and there's a bunch of fancy words and jargon that I could throw at you guys to try and explain what that entails. But basically, OnePlus claims that you can do labor intensive tasks like gaming, video editing, and you can charge the device at the same time without risk of overheating. Now, like I said earlier, I'm a pretty casual user when it comes to smartphones, so I'm probably not the best person to test this. But what I can say is so far, no matter what I've done with the phone, not once has it become hot or even warm for that matter. Now, switching gears and moving over to audio, like I said earlier, you do have stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support, and there's even a spatial audio feature that you can use with or without earbuds. And it just kind of broadens the sound, gives it a little bit more depth. So that's definitely something that you can play around with. Now, in terms of Bluetooth, we have support for Bluetooth 5.4, as well as some more advanced codecs like aptX, LDAC, and LHDC. So if you're into high resolution audio streaming, this is definitely a capable device. Now, as far as cameras, we have a triple camera setup featuring a 50 megapixel main camera, a 64 megapixel telephoto camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide camera, as well as a 32 megapixel front facing camera. Now, lately we've been having sub-zero temperatures here in the Midwest, so I haven't really been outside to really stretch the legs of the camera. But what I can say is that there is no doubt that you can capture high quality images and video of the moments that you want to capture and share with friends and family. Now, as far as the telephoto camera, it gives you up to 120 times zooming capability, which is absolutely insane. However, I would still give the edge to Samsung when it comes to overall zooming capability, mainly because of the processing that takes place after you take the photo. So I did a real quick test. I just took a picture of a random box sitting on my couch and I zoomed in 100 times on both the OnePlus 12 as well as my S23 Ultra. And after I took each photo, the processing that took place on the Samsung did a much better job of cleaning up the image compared to the OnePlus 12. Now, if you're somebody that enjoys photography, you would definitely enjoy the master mode or the pro mode of the OnePlus 12, which basically allows you to take full control over the camera. It allows you to dial in all of your desired settings, shutter speed, white balance, ISO, depth of field, and it just gives you a lot more control over the outcome of your images. As far as video, we have 4K up to 60 frames per second, and there's even 8K 24 frames per second. Honestly, I feel like the 4K is more than enough, and there's not really enough difference there to justify the larger file sizes of the 8K. So overall, I don't think there's any doubt that you're getting flagship level performance at an amazing price point with the OnePlus 12. And they actually have some pre-order deals going on right now. I'll put the information on the screen, and I would highly recommend taking advantage of these deals if you're in the market for a new phone. Like I said, no matter who you are, I think this thing is an excellent value across the board. And that battery life, chef's kiss. So that pretty much covers it for this video. Hopefully you found it to be helpful. I'll probably have some follow-up videos regarding the OnePlus 12 as well. So make sure you subscribe, give me a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And aside from that, I'll see you guys in the next one.